Good morning, Facebook family. Okay, so I just want to make sure the volume's up. Today's feed is emotional chokehold. And I have been talking about this over the weekend, and I had started talking about this more so in the upcoming days, in the most recent, because some stuff has been going on that has been suffocating for me. And I want to first give you the definition of, you already know what emotional is, but chokehold. A tight grip around a person's neck used to restrain them by restricting their breathing. Right? Pretty intense, right? So I'm sitting here and I'm like trying to, I was sitting here, I was talking to my cousin yesterday who's in Virginia, and I want to, just shout her out, because she's been such a good source of help and hope for me, in recent times. I want to shout her out. I didn't get permission to yell her name out, but she know who she is. And the next time I shout her out, which I know I will, because she's proven herself steadily and quickly to be an emotional resource. An effective emotional resource, a nurturing emotional resource. She's proven herself to be that fast and steadily since we've united. So, thank you for that. But I want to talk about emotional chokehold today. The reason why I talked about, and no correlation to the recent events with regards to the Black Lives Matter movement, that came on the tail of the incident that occurred almost a month and a half ago, where an African American was killed due to the same restriction of his airway. But I just want to use this terminology to describe what it is I would like to talk about today. And what's been going on with me. And I was talking to someone the other day, Wanda, and I was telling her that this is therapy for me. Like one day I woke up and I started doing this. And, I just started doing this, and it's something that I do for me. Whether one or two people chime in or 2,000 chime in, or if it hits a chord with one person or 1,000, this is for me. And what's been happening is that when I find out, have you ever noticed that, because we're emotional beings, right? Human first, comprised of emotions, of the ability to feel, the ability to think. We're comprised. We're just not like molded masses walking the planet. Does that make sense? We're just not just walking the planet. We're comprised of different dimensions, have you? And so I'm talking about the emotions today, because the emotions a lot of times drives the vehicle of whatever is going on. And the reason why I want to talk about emotions is because, for me, some people are physical beings. Some people are cerebral. I told you on a lot of days that because of my life experiences and how I traveled, I wasn't able to, process and tap into my feelings and all that other stuff, all the stuff that makes me human. I wasn't able to tap into that stuff. I was cerebral. Well, I had to think. It was like a chess game in a lot of situations in my life. So I had to think, and then, hope and pray that later on I'll be able to sit down and feel what I need to feel so that I can get where I need to get. That was rarely the case. But I want to talk about this because what's happening is, right now in a couple of, I talked about life literacy. When you start reading the course of your life, and then you start to see that recurring theme. In a couple of feeds ago, and probably a couple of weeks ago, I talked about in Trust the Process that you start to see these themes, convalescing, that feed where I talked about, you start to see themes of your life, and you start to see a common thread on how your life is been run, right? I used to pride myself on the fact that I had long-standing relationships. I'm gonna go there. I used to, and if you're with me this morning, stay with me. This is going to be a little bit more than cute. And I'm going to tell you why. Because, right now at this moment, I'm going through some feelings that are directly related to this feed. So if you're with me, stay with me. It's going to be fire. I think it's going to be fire. So I prided myself on the fact that I had relationships that were 10, 20, practically 30 years long, practically as long as I've been alive, right? As long as I've been able to make connections with people, I have relationships that are long withstanding. And I'm going to tap into why that is. But I started reading the folds of my life, right? And reading and saying, wow, why is that? Asking myself the hard questions and being ready to execute and the time it should the need arise. But I started asking myself that question. And in this recent incident right now, everybody knows that my son is not with me anymore. It's just me. So all of my time, not all of it, outside of work and what I'm doing for school and to receive my licensure and pursue the second half of my life career-wise, as well as, as a human being and what edifies me and my dreams and my hopes for the next chapter of my life. I've been pursuing some things and my time is devoted to healing and not hurting anymore. And not healing and healing relationships and not hurting people. I'm talking about healing for myself and not hurting myself anymore. That's me. That's where I'm at. And so I'm sitting here and I'm saying, why is it that you got these relationships? I used to say I got some relationships that's older than older than my son, or my relationships go back, we go back like Cadillac seats, but what is the quality of my relationships? Right? What is the quality of my relationships? And I'm asking this question this morning because, in some instances, I know. In some instances, that's a rhetorical question. And in other instances, I really don't know in some relationships. But I have some common themes in my relationships, and they're all long withstanding, right? Up until recent, they have been the common theme has been that my relationships are stemmed in approval-seeking behavior, right? Just don't leave me. Right? Just don't leave me. And, I'll do what needs to be done to maintain a relationship, whatever state it's in. And a lot of times, whatever state it's in, from my experience, it has been on your terms. Right? It has been on your terms. And I would be probably lying if I sat here and said, in some instances, if I've said no more. Because this thing with me, that approval seeking behavior with me is so deep, just becoming aware of it and being willing is not enough, right? Excuse me. Hold on one moment. It's not enough. So I'm sitting here because I'm talking to you guys because, it's important that my relationships be maintained in a certain fashion. If I'm getting what I need, even if what I'm saying that I need is not even a mere penance of what I should get, I'll accept it. Right? And I'm satisfied. But I'm getting to a place where, I talked about being in the work line. And I'm getting to a place right now where what I'm getting in a lot of my relationships is not enough, unacceptable, and I'm not tolerating it anymore, right? Let me tell you what happened to me. Everybody, like I said, my son, love him, the fruit of my loins. He went away, he came home, and he visited. We didn't see each other, and, I don't expect... and it came to light the other day. I started to evaluate it the other day when I was riding with a friend. A friend was with me and they said, your son didn't come see you. He didn't even see you and he was in town. And I said, no, because I had become accustomed to this norm. Does that make sense? That was our norm. And as long as you're staying, as long as you're here, as long as you're, present, as long as you're here in the relationship or provide me some type of whatever, attention, it's acceptable. And so and it wasn't so much as her verbal response because she didn't say anything, but I want to talk about her tone. Right? And no offense to her, but her tone is what set off a bell in me. because a lot of times when people be like, your negative comments aren't warranted here, your negative stance isn't, I don't need, all that stuff that you see on social media that's so cute, like I had, that was needed for me to set off this bell in me so that we could be talking about this today. So I know, no offense to her, thank you. Thank you. So a bell went off in me and I said, wait a minute, is that same theme bleeding over, or has it bled over with all the work that I've done with my son, all the therapists we went to, all the family counseling sessions we sat in on, all the healing that I thought I've done with my son, because our relationship has gotten better, right? He does call me and that's important to me. But am I accepting the same shit that I accept in my other relationships from my son? Right? Right? Hey, Maurice, am I accepting the same stuff that I accept from my relationships? That's the common theme that I'm talking about. So I want to go a step further. So, and then I'm going to talk about, at the end of this feed, before I close up, I'm going to talk about emotional goals. Yeah. Because in order to be able to get to that place, I got to start, for me, I have to start setting goals for myself. And then I start to execute and move towards them. Like when I wanted my degree back in 2014, when I made a decision that I wanted to be the type of clinician that I am pursuing right now, it started off with every journey starts with a first step. So I'm gonna talk about emotional goals at the end of all this. And so when I came to that recollection, because I placed a number of calls to him and I said, well, he hasn't, he's not calling back, but now it's starting to bother me. Now it's starting to disturb me. Right? And not only with my son, with this incident, because this incident, see, everything has its genesis, right? Everything has its origin. Everything has an original core where something springs from. So this right here is my genesis. My son, who was the start of a lot of things. Once I gave birth to him, our relationship has been the genesis of a new birth, the birth of me. Right? The rebirth of me. So in giving him life, he's giving me back life. If that makes sense. So I'm not mad at him. He's living his life, and through living his life, I'm going to get mine. But I want to talk about this morning because it's important. My son is, let me tell you, man, if nobody knows, like my son, man, he gave me a life worth living. The day that I made the decision that we're going to go forward and I'm going to have this child, right? I gave myself a new lease on life. So I'm glad that we're here. As emotionally charged as I am this morning, I'm glad I'm here because I'm going to do something. And so he's sitting here and he's living his life and I'm over here, and I'm feeling some feelings about him. I'm feeling some feelings like I want to hear his voice because I haven't heard his voice for a succession of days. And when he came into town, I didn't get a chance to see him. So now as a mother, I don't know if this is a natural mother's instinct, but it's an instinct that happens in me. Now, I may talk to other mothers and we may share the same sentiments, but yeah, it's happening it's happening to me. So, but one thing that happens to me, when I fall down, I don't stay down. I get up. I find ways to get up. Unless you have your boot in my neck and you're restricting my airway, like chokehold, and the potential for life to be taken away. If you allow me to get up, you got a sister that is getting up. And when I get up from that fall down, if you're in my path, you need to just watch out. So in my relationships, I noticed through my son, through this one incident right here, that a lot of my relationships are tied to still approval seeking behavior. Just don't leave me. Those abandonment issues that stem from when, so many people left me, so many people betrayed me, right? I got played out. So many times I got burnt, right? I want to talk about these things. So many times I got burnt, like whether it be second degree or third degree burns, I got burnt. So all that stuff created problems for me. So now I'm sitting here and I'm saying like, wow, look at all your relationships. Look at all of them. Turn them all over and see what you got. And guess what I found out? Same as my son. Same functionality as, it's not my son. It's not those relationships. It's me. So now it's time to change the dynamics of the relationships. the more that I was talking about a few minutes ago, the more that I am supposed to have, the mere penance of what I've been getting, because that's all I've been accepting, it's time to start asking for more. Right? Because the people that are your people, they're going to be your people. Whatever happen, whatever go down. When all this is over, if I got 20 friends that from 20 to 30 years, and when I ramp up my game and I decide to assert myself and engage in life, like, who's going to be left? And that includes my son. Goal. My goal is to come to life in a way like I've never known before that is so beneficial for me. I talked about it and I talk about it all the time. I got more days, but it's a blessing for me to be here. Favor has definitely been on my life. Favor has been, favor, I know grace and mercy has been showered upon me. I know this. Why? Because of my experiences and what I've been through and what I've made it through. And I didn't make it through. I was guided. I was carried. Listen, I am clear on what my thing is. So my goal is to live my life because I got more days ahead of me than I got more days behind me than I have ahead of me. You're looking at a chick that did not expect to make it above the age of 40 because of my lifestyle. That changed. It's no longer about the quantity of my relationships. It's about the quality now. I am in an emotional chokehold. And when I am like this, I can't function. The risk of my breathing being restricted is there. I can't breathe. When I can't breathe emotionally, I can't function in my other relationships. How fair is that to them because of one person or one relationship that's not faring out too well? My other goal is to be able to learn how to function when one area of my life is faltering. Can we do that? Can I do that? Second goal. That's my second goal. My third goal is to put me first, which this should have been the first goal. Me first. Me first. There's the architect, of course, of all that. First, God, Allah, whatever it is you do. But then after that, it's me. I'm tired of people coming before me. What about me? So those are my three goals. What do I have to do? And I'm going to talk about tomorrow emotional reactivity because this is important too. Like I want to learn how to not emotionally react in situations. I want to learn how to respond as opposed to react. So if you get a chance to tune in tomorrow, it is my hopes and it is my goal to tune in tomorrow to give you the second part of this. Because it needs to be talked about, emotional reactivity. But I'm in it, being in an emotional chokehold is not a good feeling. Because other areas of my life suffer because of one area. And I needed to talk about that. Like not even my son. Like when I get a chance, I need to evaluate, just like I sit down like grown folks with my girlfriends and we evaluate our relationship to determine where we're at and all that stuff that I talked about the other day. Guess what? I got to sit down and tell my son and articulate to him that my son, okay, that's not acceptable. That behavior is not acceptable. And now it's time to start. I'm the glitz and glamour of him getting to the place where he is in his life is great. But now it's time for me to forge my independence, to forge my identity, to assert just like you're important, you are important is because I make you important, right? I make you important, but I'm important too. And look, because of this particular relationship, you're important because of me. Right. Right. So this is where I'm at. I'm finding myself in a lot of days that when I'm in emotional chokehold, other relationships suffer. Like I got a relationship with my job because I got a relationship with my paycheck. Right. Now I get to go into work today because I get to go into work today on a half a tank, not on a full tank. And those people don't deserve that. They don't deserve good morning. They deserve my bright, cheery good morning and all the energy I could put behind it that I'm accustomed to, that they're accustomed to. But in the backdrop, I done had like a half a night of sleep. So there go, I have a half a tank. They don't deserve that. They didn't do anything to me. Fourth goal, I want my treatment of you, my energy to match your energy. If you treat me like shit, guess what? Y'all fill in the blank. If you treat me good, guess what? We good. Good morning, Wanda. If you treat me good, I treat you good. I want my energy in all my relationships. I want to be able to adjust accordingly, respond accordingly. And if your energy matches my energy, then we can work. But when you're treating me like and neglecting me and being disrespectful, then guess what? I want that energy and it doesn't matter. And I want to be non-discriminative of the relationship. I do not want to discriminate. Whether it's my mother or whoever, if you're treating me like crap, my brother, whoever, if you're treating me, the universe, if you're treating me like crap, I'm going to give that same energy back. That's what I want to do. I don't want to succumb to the emotional stuff from that are the dregs of my past, that are laying dormant on the bottom of my life, that have the ability when a situation comes up to just kick up whenever it feels like it and poison the other relationships in my life. I don't want that anymore. I should have made this a 1 of 3 part series, but tomorrow we're going to talk about emotional reactivity because that's important to me. I'm tired of reacting to my emotions. I want to be able to chop it up and talk it out and then listen when somebody has good information for me to move to the next level. How can we do that? So that's where we're at this morning. What about you, Facebook family? Are you in an emotional chokehold? With anybody. Anybody. It could be your lover. That dude, that chick, right? It could be that guy, right? Because one thing about emotional chokeholds, although the air is not cut off for me, guess what happens? I find myself in a repetitive cycle with the same people. I think I'm in a relationship, but it turns out it's just an elongated booty call. Yes, I said that early in the morning. Yes. Nobody's claiming anybody. We're just doing stuff because I want for the sake of whatever you got to hand out. No, I'm looking for something. I have goals. I want a companion. Yeah. I don't just want somebody that I just hook up with and then it's under the guise of, you my man, you my girl, you my boo, no, I stopped using them terms is like 18, 19 years old, probably even older. So that's where I'm at today. What about you, Facebook family? What are your emotional chokeholds? Are they keeping you in some patterns that are just not meaning you any well? Are they yielding any fruits in your life? Just saying. So, good morning, Wanda. Good morning, Roger. Good morning, Tasha. Good morning, Maurice. Long time no see. Where have you been? Are you in PA or are you back here? Or did you want me to shout out your living state? Roger, good morning. Good seeing you. Wanda, good morning. Good seeing you the other day. Tasha, good morning. I got a few minutes. Well, I really don't. I kind of do, but whatever. Yeah. You know that song, Am I Blue? That's me today. Not feeling well today. But you guys just pray for me and, well wishes and, that my emotional state improves, so that my other stuff could be improved too. And this feed was a little aggressive today, so there's a little bit of fire. So I'm grateful. I'm grateful to be alive. What about you, Facebook family? So I'm here. I'm here. Anybody want to come on camera? Talk about emotional chokehold? Remember 50 Cent song? His plan is to put the rap game in a chokehold. I remember that rap. But anywho, I'm gone. You guys enjoy your day. You deserve it, and you definitely deserve it if you are pursuing it. I see my little coworkers driving by, and